In this video, we're going to explore how to choose content for your non-adaptive assignment types in ALEKS, including homeworks, tests, or quizzes. The first thing you'll want to do is head to your assignments page. Once you're on your assignments page, you can edit any existing homeworks, tests, or quizzes, or you can add a new one by simply clicking Add New in the upper left and choosing Assignment from the drop-down menu. Our non-adaptive assignment types are towards the bottom, where you'll see homework, quiz, test, and video. In this demonstration, I'm going to go into a homework assignment to show the content, but know that in a quiz or a test, you'll have all the same question banks and questions to add and choose from for your assignments. On this homework assignment that I'm going to build, the first thing that I'll encounter is the question bank, and I need to choose which bank of questions I want to start choosing from. On the question bank drop-down menu, you'll notice that there's a few different options for where to choose content from. These will always vary depending on which course and course product you're using, as well as if you're in a math or chemistry course, so keep that in mind. You'll always encounter the ALEKS topics first. This is our ALEKS built content that can be aligned to your textbook, but it's all of our built content that you can choose and add to your course. If you're using an ALEKS 360 course, which includes a McGraw-Hill ebook, you can also choose from our textbook questions. These will mimic the end of chapter textbook questions in your book, but they're built into ALEKS to be algorithmic so that each student will see a little different of a variation of that question. The next question bank down will depend on if you're in a math or chemistry course, and depending on which math course you're in, you may encounter these integrated Excel questions. In a chemistry course, you might encounter virtual lab questions. This next question bank down is the videos. Again, you would see this only if you're using an ALEKS 360 course with a McGraw-Hill ebook. You'll notice that you can add the videos right into an assignment itself. The next question bank down that everyone will encounter is the My Questions question bank, which means that you can choose from any of the questions that you've created yourself in our My Questions tool. And the last one that you'll see on the question bank drop-down menu is that you can choose questions from previous assignments. So if you've already built all your homework assignments and now you're moving on to building quizzes or tests, you can pull in from those homework assignments instead of having to search for all of the content again. The first place we're going to explore is the ALEKS topics. This next section here is to randomly add questions. If you're wanting to randomly add questions, you can go ahead and do so, but if you're wanting to actually pick and choose your content, you can actually just skip over this entirety of the gray box. For the ALEKS topics, you can view those ALEKS topics in the ordering of your ALEKS modules, which are built into the adaptive side of your course. You can also view the ALEKS topics in the ordering of your textbook table of contents, which is what most instructors will choose. Or you can view the ALEKS topics in the ordering of the ALEKS table of contents, which will group them by pie slice. Most instructors will choose to order these by the textbook table of contents. So even though we're using the textbook table of contents here, just a reminder that the ALEKS topics are not the questions pulled from your textbook itself. They're just aligned to it. Once you choose the textbook table of contents, you'll be able to filter by a certain chapter, as well as open up a certain section underneath here to see which ones are aligned to that section of your book. You can preview content using the preview tool, which is a magnifying glass over on the right-hand side, or you can select multiple and use the quick overview preview from this page here. Once you decide that you like those ALEKS topics, you can drag and drop them over to the right-hand side, or you can check them off and click Add. It's important to note that you can add these questions in multiple times because they're all algorithmically based. Students can get a different number set both times that they open that question. Moving on to the textbook questions rather than the ALEKS topics, it's very similar here where you can skip over that randomly add section and use the filtering options presented to you. Because you're using a McGraw-Hill book, you likely have access to other textbooks as well as possibly a test bank. When you click on the textbook, it will always default to the book that's added to your course, but you can always choose content from any other book that you see on this list. You can choose the chapter of that book that you're wanting to take a look at, as well as filtering to a certain section as needed. You'll notice that these textbook questions are labeled a little bit differently than the ALEKS topics, and they have a different symbol here. These textbook questions are labeled just like they are in your book itself, but again, they're built into ALEKS to be algorithmically based. Same thing as before, you can always preview these before adding them into your course. Another option when adding and choosing content is if you're like 3 different questions here, but you only want the students to see one of them, you can always use our pooling tool where you can randomly pull one of those 3 questions and create a question pool. Besides the ALEKS topics and the textbook questions, you can implement and decide to use any of these other question banks and mix and match things into your course. You don't have to stick with just one question bank when building content for non-adaptive assignments. You can select from multiple and create a nice comprehensive assignment for you and your students. You'll be able to see those estimated times as well as how many questions, and you can preview that assignment to make sure you really like the content before continuing to the settings and publishing it into your course.